Hey guys, Sinan right here. This is going to be my chapter review, or my reviews for chapters 173 and 174 of My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia. The first of the chapters is called The Most Enjoyable Times Preparing for the Cultural Festival Part 2. Now, I thought these chapters were alright, they were pretty good, especially the second of the two chapters. Also, I've adjusted the way my camera focuses on people's faces, so I think it should be focusing more on my face rather than just a point on the screen. So yeah, I think it should be better. Let me know how the video looks, and yeah, that's just that part. Okay, so we start with more class 1A interaction, which is cool, in chapter 173, but then Mirio pops up with Eddie and he's like, yeah, Deku, let's go check out the cultural festival with Eddie. And Deku's like, alright, chillin', let's go. So I actually enjoyed the three of them moving around the cultural festival and kind of the campus for a bit. It was calm, cool, and Mirio he's funny as hell, man. And his face when his colleagues think that I assume they thought that Eddie was his daughter, and he's just there like I was like, this guy, man, Mirio is he's straight fire. I love Mirio. He's such a good character, and like I hope he does eventually get his quirk back. So he makes me laugh every time he's on camera, especially with his when he shows his ass and he's like, "You're looking for peaches" or some shit like that. I was like, "What?" So yeah, so we then got to see the competitive Class B again, who are going to be performing a play called Romeo and Juliet and the Prisoner of Azkaban: Return of the King. And I was like, to be fair, that sounds like a dope movie. That sounds badass. I would watch that movie anytime. And so I was like, yes, that was pretty fun as well. We got to see Hado Nejire dressed up for the beauty contest, which is also good to see. I think I was just glad to get away, like I said before, to get away from Class 1A for a bit. We've been stuck with them for about 4 or 5 chapters, and I thought that was getting more and more dead because they were just planning things, and I was like, bruh, this is dead. Show us people doing things, you know? So I liked that we were away from Class 1A. And I liked that, what's her name? Hado, or Nejire, I think it is. I like that she always comes second to a chick called Kenranzaki, a name which literally translates it, I mean, like, according to Manga Stream, beautiful, 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 gorgeous. So I was like, yo, like, she's losing to this chick. I mean, like, who else are you going to lose to, right? So we then get to see Hatsume, which is the crazy engineer chick. She's really fired up about this being her chance to perform, much like the tournament festival thing. I forgot what it was called. It was the sports festival was the opportunity for all these up and coming heroes, these students, to showcase themselves to all these agencies. This is the same situation for mechanics and stuff like that, these engineers. So Hatsume is really fired up, and then right on time her machine blows up into flames and our main trio escape. So we then go to lunchtime, where Principal Nezu is savaging this piece of cheese, and I was like, he was just absolutely demolishing it, and that panel gives me nightmares. I mean, he is annihilating that piece of cheese, and I was like, what the hell, bruh? It's just cheese. So we then get a small flashback from Midnight, the 18 plus rated hero, where the principal essentially begs the chief of police to allow the culture festival to take place, to continue. His reasoning is that he doesn't want to cultivate this is kind of what I felt his reasoning was. He doesn't want to cultivate a group of students who grew up in extremes and in kind of like an isolationist environment. He wants them to be the best in a very kind of holistic manner, you know, mind, body, soul. But I kind of didn't really agree with his point, and I agree more with the chief of police. You know, so far UA has proven inadequate in their protection of the new generation, and the villains are devious and out to get them. That's literally what's been happening. The villains are crazy, and they're out to get these kids. There should not logically be a culture festival. It's too dangerous and presents too many opportunities for the villains, too many easy opportunities for the villains to just jump in, kick some ass, you know. But that's not to say that there shouldn't be smaller events like every week or month or so, or couple days, to help the kids blow off some steam, because that's what Nezu's point is. I want them to blow off some steam. I want them to socialize. I want them to be like within and of each other. But they can just do that in smaller events, not such a large scale event that they need. They're literally recreating freaking Disneyland here, and I'm like, that's too much of an easy opportunity for the villains. So, you know, Nezu's a bit, I just don't agree with him. However, the event is under strict regulation, so gotta give Nezu props there. It's going to be called off if there's even a false alarm, which is more on the part of the on the police part. They were like, if there's even a small hint of a villain being there, we're going to shut down the whole thing. Security has been tightened, and Hound Dog has been let loose around the perimeters. So the chapter ends with Deku then being fired from the stage team, and then we go into chapter 174 called Gold Tips Imperial. And the chapter starts off with interaction with Class 1A again. Essentially, Deku is now transferred over to the staging team, but that's going to be kind of like halfway through his dance. He's just going to have to go and help Aoyama spin around, or like move him across the ceiling, some shit like that. Then we go to All Might training Deku to use those wind pressure attacks, and this was something that I've been missing, and I didn't realize how much I'd missed it until I read chapter 174. And I just really like the whole All Might Deku interaction, and they're training together, so I'm happy we got back to something like this. And what we learn is that All Might pretty much was a straight badass, right? Even before he had his he was given One for All. He really was the best vessel for One for All by the time he was given it. So it's a good thing that he got it. I mean, like, he mentions that it didn't take long for him to truly utilize 100%. So he was a really good fit for One for All in general. But his natural instincts, reflexes, and just his will made him the best vessel for One for All. So I was like, this guy is probably the best One for All user we're ever gonna get, unless Deku takes it to like another level. And this is all what like showcased All Might's skills by his catching of Hatsume's little mech bot thing. I was like, yo, like he just heard it like whistle by right in the distance, and he just like, and I was like, yo, this guy, like he's way better than or he would have been way better than what Deku was at this point in time had it been the other way around. And I think that's why Midio was Night Eye was so focused on Midio becoming the next One for All user, because he would probably have been a more natural fit for One for All. But that's where All Might's idea of Deku being someone who's never had a quirk, who knows the feeling of being weak, and someone with such a strong moral character would be better. So I also didn't realize how much I missed All Might's lung hemorrhages and his muscle form, but in this chapter we got to see both of those things, so it's funny again. We get a tease to Deku's new support items, some things he's going to utilize on his fists. And the question here is, what could they be? What power could they possess? And I feel it would be awesome if they were like, if they were impact based. So if it was something along the lines of Black Panther's vibranium suit, you know, how it absorbs impact and kinetic energy, and then once it gets to a peak, or even it doesn't have to reach a certain level, he can just release that kinetic energy. So it kind of stores his potential energy, and then he just pops it all out. If it's something like that in his fists, imagine how much energy that would build up. That could be devastating. So I'd like to see that. But then there would also be, a force. What's I don't know what the actual law is, but a force in one direction will create an opposite and equal reaction force. So reactionary force. So Deku's arm would blow off if it was like an extremely high amount of potential energy that he stored. So we'd have to see how that goes, but I do think that something like that would be pretty cool. All Might then tells us of a time when he tried to utilize support items, but realized his close range fighting style didn't really suit that. And I liked that we were told this, but the best part about this whole situation was when Deku's meltdown just occurs, because he's an All Might fanboy. You know, he knows everything about All Might, and then having heard that All Might had this support item form, he realizes that he knew nothing about it, and he just has a meltdown of this, like, because he can't visualize this support clad All Might. So he has a series of like nerdgasms, and he can't see how he'd left out such an important piece of information. We then go back to Class 1A, who are just chilling, drinking tea. This particular variety is called Gold Tips Imperial, which was acquired by the parents of the rich Yao Yorozu. This point bears some importance later on in the chapter, but the key thing here was Deku for me. Our boy chances upon one of Gentle's videos and is already aware of the villain. He's really keen to find out what Gentle is going to do next, and might be one of only a few people within Class 1A who could even identify the guy if needed to. So maybe he'll recognize and foil Gentle's plans upon his invasion of 1A, or UA, sorry. We then go to Gentle, who is in a very serious form. You know, he hasn't taken any tea breaks recently, so he speaks some truths about UA and heroes in general. He's like, they're unprepared for the unexpected, so they don't prepare. It's like the Patriots, you know, situation of football. They don't have that kind of training within the heroes, and they have this lack of wariness, which I agree with. You know, it's a dangerous time. Don't do stupid shit like a culture festival. So it also felt like he was using Love Lover here, telling her that he's infiltrating UA to strengthen the kids, whereas his real goal may be something much more sinister. However, this is where the Gold Tips Imperial thing comes back, and Gentle's plan starts with getting up bright and early in order to really get some tea before his mission, because that's kind of his thing. I think tea before and after a mission, and his tea that he wants to drink this time, because of like he drinks like basically a more high-end variety depending on the mission, if it's a more high-end mission. So his tea this time is going to be the elusive black tea at this store, the Gold Tips Imperial. Now I get the feeling one of two things can occur here. First, the black tea was purchased by Yorozu's family and sent to her. This would mean that Gentle would get no tea, and he'd be in a weird mood all through the festival, and then he'd smell the tea and befriend the kids of 1A, fellow tea lovers. You know, they'd give him some tea from this Gold Tips Imperial thing. Or Gentle gets his tea, is executing his plan within the grounds of UA, and befriends the kids of 1A after he realizes that they're fellow tea connoisseurs. Gentle is also suspiciously cunning and well informed of UA's movements and assets. He knows of Hound Dog probably being let loose, and everyone knows about the UA barrier already, seemingly. So, but his information on Hound Dog, I was like, why did you know Hound Dog specifically? So maybe it's that the Hero Association, the heroes, and UA aren't really creative in their approaches in dealing with the villains, that they've become predictable, and this is the same thing of being unprepared for the unexpected. You know, you need to be prepared for the unexpected, and you need to also be wary of the fact that these guys know how you'll respond. If Gentle is able to know how you're going to respond, then freaking the League of Villains are going to shit on you guys. So I think they need to just be better prepared for this kind of thing. But it almost feels like Gentle is pushing Love Lover into making these decisions for him. You know, he's like, the UA barrier, what will I do? And then she's just there like, oh yeah, no worries, I got this, I'm a master hacker. So I was like, it feels like his relationship with Love Lover and her being his first fan and everything might be him kind of just being manipulative and really just manipulating their whole relationship in the direction that he wants to utilize it. Also, is this her quirk, this master hacker thing, or is it a skill? Because if it's a quirk, she may be much more useful than she knows, and then Gentle knows, and maybe even the League of Villains might pick her up. But in the end, I think Gentle is just Gentle, pretty much. I don't think he actually has any ulterior motives. I think I was just reading too much into it. I think the way he talks to Love Lover about her being his first fan, and his comedic speech about his mustache and her devotion, and it just makes him seem really not that dangerous. But he could cause the festival to be called off, and other villains might be able to take advantage of the whole situation and the disruption and the chaos. But it would be an awesome twist by Horikoshi if he can actually, like, if Gentle was actually a manipulative asshat. That would be like, I'd be like, damn, this is crazy. So we'll see how it goes. But these two chapters are alright. I'm hoping to get less kind of I like interaction between the class 1A students when there's like one or two of them, but the whole class is just too much, and I'm just like, we've had like 5-6 chapters of this. I don't need this to be reiterated every damn chapter. We get it. They have a good relationship. Jeez, come on, man, just move on, please. So yeah, I like the chapters, but hopefully we can move on into more substantial stuff. That's where it looks like it's going. So let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know how the video turned out in terms of focusing on my face. And I'll see you guys maybe in the next few days. It should be in Nanatsu no Taizai next. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. And yeah, take it easy. See ya.